Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Now, here we are again with a new lesson Experiments with Water, Chapter 7. A wooden boat in water will float, but a needle will sink. Why does this happen? Let me think. An iron ship will also float, though it's much heavier than my boat. But a needle, light as a leaf, thin as a pin, will sink right in. Why does this happen? Let me think. Dead Sea. What is the meaning of Dead Sea? All oceans and seas have salty water. The saltiest of all is the Dead Sea. How salty? Imagine 300 grams of salt in 1 liter of water. Would you be able to even taste that salty water? It would be very bitter. Interestingly, even if a person does not know how to swim, she would not drown in the sea. She will float in water as if lying down on it. Remember the lemon you floated in salty water. Let's go through a few more experiments, children. Let's also learn what is meant by dandy march. This incident took place in the year 1930, before India became independent. For many years, the British had made a law that did not allow people to make salt themselves. They had also put a heavy tax on the salt. By this law, people could not make salt even for use at home. How can anybody live without salt? Gandhiji said, how can a law not allow us to use freely what nature has given? Gandhiji, with several other people, went on a yatra. Yatra means long walk from Ahmedabad to the Dandi seashore in Gujarat to protest against this law. Do you know how salt is made? The sea water is collected in shallow beds, dug in the sand. Water is allowed to dry in the sun. After the water dries, the salt remains on the ground. The process is very simple, children. Now, few experiments. Aisha put a puffed puri in a bowl of water. Would it sink or float? We never put puris in the water, isn't it? Because we can't eat again. We feel that hot puris will be very tasty. Puffed puri in a bowl of water would float as it is lighter than water. However, after some time, it would start to sink due to the absorption of water by the dough of the puri. You put a steel plate on water. Would it sink or float? What would happen to a spoon? A steel plate would float on water as it is lighter than water. On the other hand, a spoon which is heavier than water would sink. The size of the body does not decide whether it floats or sinks. It is the mass and volume of the body that collectively decide whether it floats or sinks. Would a cap of plastic bottle sink or float on water? The cap of a plastic bottle would float on water as it is lighter than water. Do the experiment and fill in the blanks. The iron nail dash in water, but the katori dash. I think this happened because you need to do the experiment and Right. The reason. The empty plastic bottle dash on water. The bottle filled with water dash because. The aluminium foil dash when it was spread out. When pressed tightly into a ball, it dashed. This may have happened because. Yes, you need to do the experiments then. The iron nail sank in water but the katori floated. I think this happened because the weight of water displaced by the iron nail is less than its own weight. The weight of water displaced by the katori is equal to its own weight. The empty plastic bottle floats on water. The bottle filled with water sinks because the weight of water displaced by the empty plastic bottle is equal to its own weight. The weight of water displaced by the bottle filled with water is less than its own weight. The aluminium foil floated when it was spread out. When pressed tightly into a ball, it sank. This may have happened because the weight of water displaced by the aluminium foil is equal to its own weight. The weight of water displaced by the aluminium ball is less than its own weight. Please go through the answers twice or thrice in order to answer. Now you need to do this experiment. Make groups of 4 friends. For the experiment you will need 4 to 5 glasses or bowls, spoons, water and the things listed in the table. Take some water in each glass. Now try to dissolve one thing in one glass. Observe what happens and note in the table. So you need to do this experiment in order to note the result. Things. Did it dissolve or not? What happened after keeping for 2 minutes? Salt, soil, chalk powder, 1 spoon of milk and 1 spoon of oil. Here are a few more questions. Could you see the salt after it dissolved in water? If no, why? Does that mean that now the water does not have salt? If it has, then where is the salt? What difference did you see in the water with salt and the water with chalk powder after keeping for some time? Which of the two would you be able to separate from the water by straining with a cloth, salt or chalk powder? Do you think the oil got dissolved in water? Why do you think so? You also try to do the same and then tell which drop went ahead. Why did it slide faster? Now here are the answers. No, we could not see the salt after it dissolved in water. This is because as soon as the salt is added into the water, it starts breaking down into smaller particles. This is because as soon as salt is added, what happens is it starts breaking down into smaller particles that are difficult to be seen by naked eyes. These salt particles get inside the water. At this stage, the salt starts dissolving in the water and a stage comes when the entire salt gets dissolved. Thus, no more salt could be seen. That does not mean that water does not have salt. The salt got broken into smaller particles that occupy the position in between the particles of water. Now after keeping for some time, the water with salt looks clear. However, the water with chalk powder does not. Some of the chalk powder gets settled while some of it remains scattered throughout the water. Out of the two substances, we would be able to separate chalk powder from water by straining with a cloth. This is because salt particles cannot be seen in water, whereas chalk powder can be. Oil will not get dissolved in water. The question is, where did the water? One day Aisha's mother put some water to boil on the stove for making tea. She got busy with something and forgot about it. When she remembered and came back to check, she found only a few drops of water left in the pan. Think, where did the water go? Why did Chitty Babu and Chinnu Babu keep their mango jelly under the sun? At your house, what things are made by drying in the sun? Then the answer is the water from the pan got evaporated and converted to vapor. Chitty Babu and Chinnu Babu kept the mango jelly under the sun in order to dry it so that the water vapor evaporates. Now, what have we learned? You have washed your handkerchief and you want to dry it quickly. What all can you do? What things do you put in water to make tea? Which of those things dissolve in water? You have been given some mystery pieces, lumps of sugar. Suggest some ways to dissolve them quickly. The handkerchief can be dried in the sun or under the fan to dry it quickly. The ingredients used to make tea are water, tea, leaves, milk and sugar. Among these, milk and sugar dissolve in water. Some ways in which the mystery pieces can be dissolved quickly are: crush them and then dissolve them by stirring continuously. Heat the water while continuously stirring in the pieces of mystery. Now here is the evaluation part, children. Just go through very carefully and write the answers in the classwork. Now choose the correct answer to fill in the blanks. Stirring, soap cake, march, sang, dissolve, floating, dandy, seawater, British, salt, soap case. Aisha saw that at first Puri dashed to the bottom of the pan. As puffed up, it started dash onto oil. The dash sinks in water while the dash floats. Now we are going to write the answers. Choose the correct answers and write. When Aisha put salt in the boiling water, it started dash. On dash, sugar gets quickly dissolved in water. Yes, it's time to write. You can write only the answers. Write true for the correct statement and false for the wrong statement. A puffed up puri will float in water. A steel plate sinks in water. A plastic bottle cap floats in water. Dead Sea has the saltiest water of all seas. Here are few more questions. Could you see the salt after it dissolved in water? If no, why? Does that mean that now the water does not have salt? If it has, then where is the salt? What difference did you see in the water with salt and the water with chalk powder after keeping for some time? Which of the two would you be able to separate? Encircle the things that dissolve in water. It's time for you to do it immediately. Sugar, lemon juice, oil, fruit juice, Pepsi, salt, chalk powder, mud, ghee, mystery, milk. Group the following into which are soluble in water and which are not soluble in water. Blood, ink, curd, ghee, wax, wheat flour, sugar, salt, pencil waste, milk. Soluble in water, insoluble in water. You need to write the things under each heading. What are the things that are soluble? What are the things that are insoluble? Now here is the answer key. Choose the correct answer to fill in the blanks. The first one. Sank and floating. Soap cake, soap. Floating, stirring. Write true for the correct statement and false for the wrong statement. It's true, false, true and true. Tick the correct answer. A is 3, B is 4, C is 3, D is 1. Encircle the things that dissolve in water. Sugar, lemon juice, fruit juice, salt, mystery, milk. Group the following into which are soluble in water and which are not soluble in water. Blood, ink, sugar, salt, milk. Bye bye. Have a fantastic day.